So, people watching this, I imagine, probably already know who you are. And if you are a person watching this and you don't know who they are or who I am or what any of this is, I am impressed that the algorithm works so well in our
Yeah.
favor. That you're even here, that you clicked on this and was like, I want to know about this thing. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is, but I want to know.
Yeah. Exactly. Those two people, they seem to be talking. Let's learn more.
Let's find out what this is all about.
Yeah.
But for anyone that for some reason doesn't know who you are, would you mind introducing yourself?
All right. My name is Adrienne Bazir, also called Insert Disc 5 on the interwebs. I am a game developer. I am also a cartoonist. In a previous life, I was a 2D animator, and now, yeah. And I made a game that was kind of famous called In Stars in Time. Tumblr really liked it.
They
It
did.
was Tumblr catnip for a long time, and even now. And now I am making another game called Truth Scrapper, which is a visual novel with toxic lesbians and about memories and about toxic lesbians.
The toxic memory lesbians. We
Exactly.
love them. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
they are.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, I mean, because here's the thing. So if you don't know who I am, which you definitely won't, I am Chris Light. I've just started working with Adrian here in the last like 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm doing community management and stuff, and we decided why not do a video version of the updates that Adrian's been doing for Truth Scrapper. So here we are. Basically, I want to know.
Yeah.
So I want to know more about you because we've only really known each other for 2 weeks. So I may,
Yeah, that too. So
like,
it's everyone's learning.
yeah, that's like part of it. I'm sort of like, this is great because if you're a really effective interviewer, you want to know the answers to the questions you're asking, and I do. But we also have updates on the game that we can take a look at and see how progress is coming along.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you were... Did you say you did webcomics?
I did a lot of fan art on Tumblr for a really long time. I think I recently got my 15th birthday on Tumblr.
I was about
So
to say it's your 15th birthday. I was like, wait, how old are
on
you?
on Tumblr,
Oh,
yeah.
good.
On Tumblr, yeah.
I was like, how are you employing me? How is this working? Like, what?
This whole time,
I
yeah.
didn't know that. Like, right.
You're on the
It's good to
hiring.
learn. Yeah.
Yeah. I've grown up on Roblox.
Yeah,
I still don't
wow.
know exactly don't what Roblox is. I need to
You
learn.
don't need to. It's fine. Like, you're
That's
good.
fair.
You're all right. Like, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, so made a lot of fan works on Tumblr. Slowly started to make some original comics over the years, especially with uh, the 24-hour comic day,
Oh, I
which
fucking love
is
those.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you have 24 hours to do 24 pages of a comic, including the not including the cover and the back of the cover. Um, and so I would say that's what got me started into telling my own stories instead of tell like uh trying to add on to someone else's story. And that's actually a bit how my previous game, In Stars in Time, got started,
Mm.
because even though it came out in 20, I don't remember years. It came out 3 years ago, let's say.
Time.
But
Yeah.
yeah, time. But I had made some short comics about Sifrin, the main character, for a few years beforehand.
Mm.
And it was supposed to be like just a short, like couple panels story about a character that is stuck in a video game and is aware that they're restarting the video game over and over again and doing a new game plus and how they're feeling about it. Um, and then the pandemic happened and I was stuck at home and I was like, I should make a project. Let's do my pandemic project, which really quickly I realized that it would become a really big undertaking.
Mm.
And I had learned from following a lot of webcomic artists over the years that you should never start with the project you have in
People
mind
always say
because of,
that. Yeah. Like,
yeah,
don't do the big
because
thing first because
yeah,
you need to learn a lot.
and also that takes over your life and
Yeah.
you might not be able to do well for a bunch of reasons.
Yeah.
And so and I had never like I had made another small game through a game jam a couple
Mm.
of years beforehand called Sare, which I made in 2 months for a game jam. But beyond that, I had never made a video game before, or really I didn't like coding, and that was really scary.
I don't
Is
understand
how
it.
it was.
Yeah,
It's still
so
scary.
it
Yeah.
is. You need to be good at
Hmm.
maths, like, and I'm
Yeah.
not. So,
Yeah.
like, well,
No.
I think you do. I don't know if you do. I assume you do. Like,
Not so much, but it's similar to math in the way that you think about it.
yeah, enough.
It's like half puzzles, half math,
Yeah,
and
terrible at
I don't.
both.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
so I just usually what I do is if I need to do something with a code, I just go on Google and I copy and paste, which I
Yeah.
found out is what a lot of programmers do. So I guess I'm a
Yeah.
programmer.
It's where you get
Yeah,
knowledge. It's the same with art. You
exactly.
get
Yeah.
inspiration. Like, it's same
you just
thing.
you just kind of copy what people have done before, and then you
Yeah.
learn as you copy and figure out how you want to do it your own way later. But yeah, I figured that this would become a really big project, so I decided to do a smaller version beforehand, which ended up being the game Start Again, Start Again, Start Again, a prologue, because
Mm.
I love Kingdom Hearts type titles.
I mean,
Kingdom
get
Hearts
some
zero
dream.
point
Yeah.
0.8,
Dream
Fragmentary Passage.
distances. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
get it all in there. Why not?
really, like really long title, so I wanted
Yeah.
to put a really long title, and it ended up being, yeah, like a bit of a prologue for what ended up being In Stars in Time. I wanted to make it a 20-minute experience, but it ended up being a 2-hour experience, and I thought, so that's how it usually goes. And for In Stars in Time, I thought it was going to be maybe a 5-hour experience. It is around a 30-hour
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
experience.
know it's longer than that. Like,
It's
it's
longer than
yeah.
that for sure. And some people really like spending time with the loops and being
Mm.
stuck in a time loop and everything. So they might. I've heard of some people that are like, yeah, I finished the playthrough in 60 hours. I'm like, that's whoa, that's scary.
It's a lot.
That's Skyrim times. I
Yeah, like that's a long time in the thing that you made. Like you're like that's
Mhm,
a lot.
so
That's a percentage of your life is
yeah,
in the thing that I did. Like
yeah, yeah.
that's not
That's
nothing.
incredible. Yeah. So yeah, and then so I released the prologue. Then I got found out by Armor Game Studios, which ended up
Mm.
publishing In Stars in Time. In Stars in Time came out a couple years after that. Tumblr really loved it. Other websites also, but Tumblr really loved it.
Yeah.
So that was great. And yeah, I took a little break, and then I started working on my next game, which is called, like I said, Truth Scrapper. This time it's a visual novel and not an RPG like in Stars in Time,
Mm.
just because I really like telling stories and I didn't want to add. I didn't want gameplay. I don't like gameplay in my games.
You say that, but there is gameplay in this game. I've played some of
There
it,
is.
and like
There
there
is.
is,
Yeah.
but you made it because you want to. Like, why would you make
Yes.
anything? I think that's the definite reason why you should make anything is I wanted to
Hmm.
make this a lot, so I
Yes.
did. Like, yeah.
Yes.
I do like that, like, because that's such a breezy, like, that's like, man, this sounds like it just all worked out great. Like, just,
Yeah.
like, I mean, that sounds pretty good. Also, I like
Hmm.
that you began with, like, oh, and, you know, I've never made a game before. I've done a game jam where I made this game, but, like, I've never made a game. I was like, I mean, that sounds like making a game to me. Like, how did you
Yeah.
learn to do that? Like, what was the impetus to be like, I'm going to be in a game jam and I'm going to make a game,
Well,
even though I have no
if we
knowledge?
go if we go through my entire game development journey,
If we could,
so
I'd
yeah,
love it. Why
of
not?
course, let's go
We're
for it. Why
here.
not?
Like,
So I started playing video game when I was very young because my cousins were playing Pokemon and all of that, and I was like, oh, I'll play Pokemon also. I'll try it.
really casual
And
about it. Like, as a
yeah,
kid, yeah, I'll give it
yeah,
a go.
yeah.
Why not?
Go.
Got a
Seems like this
cigarette,
is
like, just
all the
leaning.
rage these days. I'll try
Yeah.
this Pokemon Yellow you
Whatever you
speak
kids are
of.
talking about over there.
Hmm.
Like, how old are
Hmm.
you at that point? Like, what, like,
I was like 8 years old or
yeah, like
something.
an
So
8-year
yeah,
old, just
yeah, an
leaning.
8 year
Like,
old. Like,
yeah, why not?
I guess I'll follow the craze.
Whatever.
This Pokemon craze or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. And I started playing more games, and my I actually recently had a conversation with my mom about this because we were talking about all my how I got to this point, kind of,
How did we
and
get here? Yeah,
how did
yeah.
we get here?
Mm,
And I remembered that when I was a kid, I used to say that I wanted to become a game developer. I don't know
yeah.
if I actually wanted to. I think I wanted to, but also I realized that my mom would buy games for me if I used the excuse,
Oh,
"Mother, it's for research." And
that's
so she would be
smart. I
like,
never thought
"All
of that.
right, yeah." So I think that was her way of like being like, "Yeah, sure, whatever. That
Mm,
counts. I'll buy you a video game." And so we were talking about that, and she said that the reason she encouraged me to play video games and all of that is because she realized that that was a hobby for boys, and
mm.
she was like, since it's a hobby for boys, if you're into it, you should keep going into it because I don't want my daughter to only focus on girl things.
Oh
If she
shit.
wants to also focus on things that are usually more for boys, hell yeah, I'm gonna push that because
Yeah.
I don't
If
want.
you're into it, why not?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I played a bunch of video games, and I really wanted to be a game developer. And I actually, when I went to college, I really like I went into college to for game design.
Oh. See,
Uh
like I've never made a game, but also I went to college for game design. I'm like, all these things. Like,
but
oh,
so originally I'm from France, but I went to college in the US.
oh,
And so my first year in the US was when I had my first year of college.
got it.
And so I had to learn both game design and coding and all of that, and also how to speak English
So you
in
only had a
like.
few languages to learn all at once. Like,
Yeah,
not
so
hard.
I remember very clearly my brain overheating at all times.
Mm,
And so there were also, again, it was game design, so there were a lot of boys and not a lot of girls,
mm,
and that was kind of like, it's no one said anything, but it's you feel like you don't really have your place in that sort of
mm,
environment. And also game design for me, I've always wanted to tell stories and make video games, but the way they taught you is not, all right, you're gonna make a shitty video game and you're gonna get started. Is no, you need to learn how to code first. And I was like, God damn, I don't want to do that.
yeah,
So
do I?
I
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. Like
Mm,
if the way to learn in game design was maybe a little bit different, where you could immediately have something tangible, maybe I would have stuck with it, but I
mm.
didn't end up sticking with it for very long. And so I ended up switching to 2D animation, which is now what I have
All
my
right.
bachelor's in. And so that's why in a previous life I was in animation, 2D animation, doing a bunch of kids shows that no one has heard of. But now I'm, and
I mean,
then
maybe.
no.
No,
I
like
always say,
nobody.
because then people are like, "Oh, kids shows like
But
Bluey."
what?
I'm like, "No, not Bluey.
Was it
If I worked on
specifically
Bluey,
Bluey?
yeah, if I worked on Bluey, everyone would know about it, okay?"
Yeah, it's a really big program. I feel you'd be
It's
like,
a
yeah,
really
I
big
work on Bluey.
program,
I'm doing
and
really
I would
well.
tell, yeah, I would tell everyone.
Yeah.
It was more shows that literally only 4-year-olds would know about.
Okay.
That's the kind of
In the
shows.
Veggie Tales world or something like that. Like it's
Kind
yeah,
of,
yeah.
yeah. They were good shows, but it's like those are not, adults would have no reason to know
No.
about them.
Yeah.
And yeah, and after that, so I made Sarah at some point because I was like, okay, I've been working in animation for a while, but apparently there's this things called game jams, and there are those things called indie game, and there's this game
Mm-hmm.
called Undertale that came out, and apparently it was made by an indie developer. I guess
Ooh.
I could kind of try it. I could make my own and see how that goes, and then it went
Mm.
pretty well, and so yeah, just and then it
It
continues.
panned out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. So Undertale was like the first indie game that you kind of
I would
experienced? Or you were like, oh,
no,
this,
that
I could do this. Was it more like that kind of a thing?
this was more like that. This was more, this is something that I could do. I did play beforehand like a bunch of RPG Maker games. I played I played
Mm.
Off, I played all of those kind of RPG Maker games that were in the 2010s, famous in the
Yeah.
2010s, I would say. But I would say, like a lot of people, Undertale was kind of the first game. I would say maybe because Toby Fox shared a lot, or at least a lot was shared about his process and
Mm,
how he didn't know how to code, or at least that the code that he put in his game wasn't perfect,
yeah,
but the game still was
it
very good. So I
worked.
was like, oh yeah. So it's
Yeah,
like, oh okay, even if the code isn't perfect, uh he still made a really good game. So I guess coding isn't everything.
yeah, and that's huge. Like because there
Hmm.
definitely is a. I know it's a thing I've had where you definitely have a perception of like, well, if I can't make the greatest thing of all time that is wholly original and unique, why
Yep.
bother? Why
Hmm.
even bother doing anything? And
Exactly.
turns out that's not how anything has ever been made. So
Hmm.
it's like,
Hmm.
but yeah,
Hmm.
that's interesting because Undertale, it's definitely it's sort of a game where you can see the seams in a way where like I can see how
Yes.
that is a thing that you can look at and go like, oh, I could probably do that, like not in a way
Hmm.
where to put the game down, but more in a way that it's like this feels accessible and human in a way that like a game like a huge Ubisoft game or something. You don't
Yeah.
look at that and go, I reckon I could do that. Like,
Hmm.
whereas that you're like,
Hmm.
oh, I can see how a person made this. I can see
Yeah.
fingerprints all over it, and you're like, oh, I could,
Exactly.
yeah,
And then the fact that he also used like he also had help from a lot of people,
mm,
including some webcomic artists that I knew about. And so I was like, oh okay, so it's not necessary, like even if you make an indie game on your own, that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to make all of it. Like, I
mm,
think, like, there's not either you're a really big AAA studio with 500 people, or you're a single person doing literally everything. It's like, oh, there's
yeah,
like you can ask for help.
yes, yeah, you
Hmm.
can. And I did that come like what sort of because obviously you went a publisher came in later, but like during development, was there specific things that you didn't touch and were like other people's bits or like
Oh, music. I don't know anything about music, and
there
so
you
that
go.
was the one thing where I was like, I can't do that. I don't really want to learn just for that. I'm already learning
Yeah, it's a
enough.
lot. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I'm already learning how to code for this, and how
yeah,
to do a bunch of small things like UI, how like all of that. So I was like, all right, let's give music to someone else. I'm thinking about for the prologue. Yeah, otherwise I did the coding on my own with RPG Maker, which thankfully doesn't require a lot of coding experience.
yeah.
It's
That's
very
the fun part.
uh exactly. Like put a lot of art into it, wrote everything. Thankfully I found out about plugins that you could use in RPG
Mm,
Maker to kind of make it more specific in certain ways. Like, oh, I want the battle screen to look like this. I would like the music to change in this certain way. So like finding other people's bits of codes to add into the game was
yeah,
very helpful in that way. Um, and yeah, when in Stars in Time, when I was making in Stars in Time, same thing for the music. Found an additional programmer to help with the code that I didn't know how to do, and that was so
yeah.
specific that no one else wrote
There
about
wasn't
it
a
in
thing for
anything.
it. Yeah, you're just like,
Yeah, yeah. It's like, please, I need this incredibly specific thing to happen, so do something.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, otherwise, the writing and the art and most of the codes is done by me for
Wow.
all of the games that I that I made.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
because it's always like you always hear the story of like a solo developer, and it's also always not always, but it's normally a case that it's like, well, there are other bits, like there's other people
Yeah.
in here, but like that's still like a large
Hmm.
chunk of just
It
your
is
own
rare
expression to
to
have that
hear about
much.
an actual solo
Oh,
developer who made
100%.
the
Yeah,
thing from beginning to end, and
yeah.
then the game ended up being like kind of famous. It's like, all right, probably not, but also it is even like even for me it's like sometimes people say I'm a solo developer, and it's like I don't know if I should do you say solo developer knowing that I have other people and that's what you mean by solo developer, or do you
Yeah.
really think I made the whole thing? Should I break your heart? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, that's always one of the things I find interesting about just discussing how games are made because
Hmm.
it really, like you said about Toby Fox, I think it really demystifies what the process is, and I
Yeah.
find that useful in that like you say, people can look at it and go, oh, all right, I could do that thing. Like
Yeah.
it's not like
Hmm.
some mystical super brain stuff that I will never understand or never
Yeah.
meet or never be at. So yeah, no, that's good to know. It's So yeah, the game did very well. Like it did very well, and
It
now
did.
we are here at Truth Scrapper, and
Mhm.
so I guess the first thing is like what inspired you to want, like, what are there visual novels that you played in the past that like you love, or like was this just a specific story that you were like, I want to tell this story and this is the best medium, or a combo of all those things? Like,
Um,
how did you get to it, I suppose, is the
for
question.
visual novels, I would say that I've played so many that I couldn't give you a specific one that
Yeah.
inspired me. Especially a lot of indie visual novels have
Mm.
really impacted me in a lot of different ways. So I think for Truth Scrapper, I got the idea because in Stars in Time, among other things, so it's mostly a story about a time loop, but it's also a story about Sifrin's relationship to their past and
Mm.
how they forgot where they came from. They forgot about their country, and how does forgetting impact them? How do they kind of um, process the fact that they can't remember a really core part of themselves? How, like, so it was a lot about forgetting because I really love amnesia as a plot device. I feel like it's really fascinating every
It's a
time.
classic.
It's a
It's an
classic.
anime classic, I know that
It's
much
an
as well. Like,
anime
they have
classic
amnesia, like,
also.
I'm like,
Yeah,
how do
it's
they?
really good. It's
Yeah.
really good every time. I'm like, every time, oh yeah,
Yeah,
I've
now we're
seen
gonna
that
find
before, but
out.
I do want it.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I really wanted to explore that more in another game and kind of go a little bit to the left on what it would mean for someone to forget and how that would impact them. To give more context, in Truth Scrapper, the main character Sassat is from the Guild of the Truth Scrappers,
Mm.
which is a guild where people uh forget something. They come to the guild and they forget something, and Sassat forgets everything. So every morning she wakes up, she doesn't remember anything. She touches her scrapbook and then she remembers everything that she wrote in her scrapbook, in her journal, kind of. And so I really wanted to explore how would it be for a character to wake up every day, not remember anything, have to write down their memories. What would this character consider important memories? What would they consider unimportant memories? Um, and how would, and also beyond what they would feel and think about this, how would their body and how would they react to everything around them that was happening? How would they react to other people knowing that they can't remember anything? Maybe they've met this person before, maybe they haven't. It's going to depend on how this person reacts to them. Are they perhaps going to be uneasy towards certain things and not really know why, but like the body remembers but their
Mm.
brain doesn't? So I really wanted to explore amnesia in more detail, and so that was kind of what started it all. um and uh and then to go to the toxic lesbians part,
Here they are. The
as
toxic
kind of,
memory lesbians. We
yeah,
love them.
exactly. In Stars in Time does touch on some complicated and hard subjects, but overall it is a very um whimsical, and I don't like to use that word, but it's a wholesome story. Like
It's used a
it's
lot, but I know what you mean. It's
yeah, it's
appropriate.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's about friendship, it's about being accepted, it's about characters that try their best, even if they make mistakes along
Mm.
the way, kind of thing. Um, but for this one, I I kind of want to show that I of course I can write wholesome, cute things. So really like stories where you have really toxic people interacting with one another.
Mm.
And so that was a bit of a reaction to In Stars in Time for me, where it's like, okay, I made something really wholesome. I want to make something a little fucked up this time.
Dude, yeah, no, and it's very
Mhm.
rare very rare in video games. I don't know if I can even think of many examples off the top of my head, but like it's a concept that's not, or a device that's not used enough, I think, which is this character's not a nice person. Like
Yeah.
they're not nice, and
Yeah.
not in a way where we're going to be like, but yeah, they're all right. Like no, they're not. This is a bad person, and maybe
Hmm.
they do bad things, and how does that pan out?
Yeah.
Like it's not touched on much because I think the the way the medium is that you're in
Hmm.
it, most people generally don't want to be bad, and so you don't want to
Yeah.
experience that. But I think that's a very valid like thing to
Yeah.
explore.
I don't know. That's also the thing at the same time where like I'm gonna write something fucked up, you guys, and then but
That's the
also I
pitch.
that's the pitch.
Sup,
But at
gang?
this I it's also that it's fucked up compared to In Stars and Time, and
Yes.
so I hope that I don't I really hope it's as fucked up as I'm making it sounds, and that it's not gonna and that people in the end are not gonna react to it like, well, that was pretty tame. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I let
Yeah.
you guys down.
No, it's
But I
yeah.
think it's gonna work out. But I it's not that I wanted to make characters that are bad the same way that for In Stars in Time I didn't want to make characters that were good.
Mm,
I always try when I write to make characters that feel human. And
mm,
so even if they have bad reactions to things, or they get angry, or they get upset, or maybe they even get violent, I not as like I want to I hope that I'm writing it in a way that it's going to be clear for the player that there's a reason that they're reacting that way,
mm.
not as a way to excuse terrible actions or anything like that, but just as a, oh, well, yes.
It's
I
exploring
can
it.
understand. Yeah, I can understand the
It's
through line. Yeah.
yeah, like it's exploring it, and I'm not gonna spoil anything at all for the game, but like there are definitely little moments in just the little bit I've played that were like, oh, I wouldn't have said that. Like that feels a bit
Yeah.
mean. Like
Yeah.
and it's acknowledged and stuff like that within the narrative, but it is
Hmm.
still like you get little bits, and that is what, like you say, that's sort of human. That's what people are like. Like
Hmm. Yeah.
it's not a side of yourself you love to examine, but it's also worth examining, I think, and presents
Hmm.
a more holistic picture of a person.
Yes, there's that for sure. And I feel like there are a bunch of stories where you have a really fucked up character, but we still read them because it's so fascinating.
Mm.
Oh, damn, I forget the name of the movie. With the movie with the scene where they all give each other their business cards and they're all
Oh,
looking at
American
the
Psycho.
yeah.
Yeah, you're like what?
Where it's like,
That's
oh, it's a little fucked up, but yeah, it's fun to
it's
watch.
compelling. Like
It's
yeah, like
compelling.
I'm still here. Like yeah.
Hmm.
No, I know exactly what
Hmm.
you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you say, I've only played a tiny slice of it, but
Hmm.
like I think it's well, people will see. I don't need to tell them. Like
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
will find out. Like it won't
Yeah.
be that long. But yeah, it's an interest. It's a very interesting pitch. It's definitely it's because this is to me. I'm like it's different, but it's also not because I think it's different. But it is still coming from you, and I would say that
Hmm.
authorial voice is like really still in
Oh
there.
yeah.
Like
Yes.
yeah, like
I think so too. Yeah.
you have a very defined like voice within
Mhm.
writing and everything, and I think that comes across. Was that like natural to you, or did you like develop that?
Uh, I've always told stories in some way, shape, or form, so I feel like
Mm,
it's just years and years and years of like learning how to do that. And I also have learned to be very analytical about the media that I also consume,
mm,
and kind of go, okay, this is this thing that like this movie I it seems like they made me feel this way by doing this. This was really successful because they did this, or even that's why I'm such a hater about a lot of things. This was bad. Here's why I think it is bad,
yeah.
and here's how I think I would have done it instead.
Mm,
And uh yeah, kind of analyzing why do I think a story works, why do I think a story doesn't work, um and also at the same time trying to figure out, is this actually bad or is it just that I don't like it? And
That's like that's a huge thing, because that's a lot of
yeah.
like, you just, there are elements where you, especially with things that, like you say, you watch it and you're like, this is awful, I don't like this at all, and
Hmm.
then you find other people that are like, I love this is so good, and you're like,
Yeah.
huh.
Clear,
Like,
clear, like, and sometimes, yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes I understand why people love a thing that I don't,
mm,
and I'm like, okay, so that's just wasn't for me. I just
yeah.
wasn't the target audience. And sometimes there are things where I'm like, all right, I really don't understand it this time. I need
Yeah.
to find out why other people like this thing so much. And there's like one thing in particular where I'm like, I still don't get it, so I'm gonna keep being a hater. But I'm so glad you guys like it for whatever reason.
Yeah. I don't know if we get bold and controversial on the very first episode of this. We can talk about
No,
what
that's
that
why
is later.
we can
Yeah,
go
we can
later.
go there
Yeah.
later. But you know,
Hmm.
there's plenty of stuff like that though. I've got a number of things like that where you're sort of like, why does
I don't
anyone?
get it.
And like
Yeah.
that is, I imagine, a very useful storytelling, narrative kind of analytical tool to be like,
I think so.
but
Yeah.
why? But what is this? Let me
Yeah.
like, what is in here? Like, what is this thing?
Hmm.
Yeah.
What are people relating to in this? What
Mm.
are they like what what is the part that I am not seeing, or that maybe I'm seeing too much, and maybe people are either ignoring, or maybe they aren't even realizing a part of this story is there. And for me it's like the whole thing, so I can't really take away from it. uh
Yeah.
and and that's also something that I learned with the people's reaction to In Stars in Time, because I there were like obviously I put a lot of myself in Stars in
Mm.
Time, and some people are relating to the same parts that I put into it, and then some people are relating to parts that I didn't even realize that I put inside the game. Like for example, a lot of people from the DID or the Pearl community
Mm.
have been really attached to In Stars in Time, in a way where I'm like, oh, I didn't even know you guys were a thing, quite honestly. So that's
Yeah.
amazing. Like that's amazing that there's a whole community I wasn't really aware of beforehand, likes the game so much, and can really see themselves in it.
Mm.
And or maybe a lot of people are saying, oh, I feel like this character reads as autistic to me, this character reads as this thing or this thing or this thing. And those are things where, same thing, it wasn't a conscious spot, but it's like, I completely see your point,
Yeah.
actually. You're so right. And so that's what I find really fascinating about art in general, is how, as the creator, as the author, you might put a lot of yourself in it, but the audience puts a lot of themselves in it as well.
Mm.
And uh just to keep that in, I try to keep that in mind to a certain extent, where it's like, maybe there are some parts that this kind of person might be attached to, and I find that interesting. Can I somewhat strengthen that connection for them, to kind of give them a little nod or a little wink?
Yeah.
um so that like, oh, like people might feel really attached to this character for this reason. Let me do a little research about what that means to be from this community, what they might see in it. Can I give a little something something in
Yeah.
there? Yeah.
No, that's interesting stuff, and it's all, a lot of it seems to be understanding and relating people via the process of your narratives
Yeah.
and stuff in a way.
Yeah, like that's all, like my kind of catchphrase that I use on most of my social media is,
Mm.
uh I make things that make you feel things.
Mm.
And so there's a lot of that where it's like, if I can make people feel seen, obviously this would be incredible. But I also aim to make people laugh, to make
Mm.
people happy, to make them feel sad and upset also.
Mm.
Like like this is also when I go on streams where people play In Stars in Time, for example, and if they get to a moment that I know is gonna upset them, I just go so that
Dude,
they know it's the
this is
it's the
the
little gremlin.
this is the thing that, like, so this isn't just me name dropping. I barely met the guy, but like and I think this is a public thing actually, so I don't have to involve myself in it. But George R.R. Martin, there was a time I worked in New Mexico, which is where George
Yeah.
R.R. Martin lives, and I worked for a company that George R.R. Martin had invested in. So there was a point where I had to go and do something at a cinema that George R.R. Martin owned, and there was like half an hour where it was just me and him while I was plugging in a computer and like crawling around like on the floor moving cables. I was doing live stream production, and he was just sat there because he had nothing else to do and he didn't want to go outside into the like where all the people were waiting. And it was just talking about Game of Thrones and all the people getting killed in it and the amount he loves it, like the amount he like the glee that he has of like and then the character dies and they didn't know that was gonna happen, did they? And it's like
I got them, I got them. Yeah, I made them feel something. That's really it. And I feel like, and I what I hope, because that's what happens with me on the other side, is that knowing that the creator wants you to feel this way, it makes it feel less daunting. I feel like it's like, okay, that if that's the point, then it's okay.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you might run into a story that makes you feel like really, really gross, and it's like, oh, and you didn't mean to do that? That's just how you are?
Oh no. Yeah, like oh.
Well, if it's like, no, that was on purpose, I want you to feel that way. It's like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I work at Strange Scaffold as well, so we have a lot of stuff like that, which is deliberately designed to elicit not necessarily comfortable feelings in all of our video games. But yeah, and that's also like, because I mentioned the thing with George R.R. Martin. I know for him, a lot of the thing was also like, these characters are dead, but but the thing he loves is that he's like, you didn't know that was coming, did you? And now anything could happen. Like,
yes, that was so good about Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's like you're in a world where any of these people can die. Like,
yeah,
so yeah,
and even in a moment where you're like, well, their arc isn't over. They have so much left to do, and it's like, nope, that's it. And that's the tragedy of it. It's like, yeah, that's the good stuff.
Yeah, and like it feels like there's a bit of that like within not people dying, like, but like within this game, like that sort of feeling of that you're, well, I won't spoil it. People will play it. Like, I don't need to start getting into what happens, but yeah, there's going to be a demo, as you're probably well aware, people, and it's very good. And I
promise it's going to come out at some point. People have been saying, Adrienne, you've been talking about the demo for so long, and it's like, that. You're right. It's been almost a year. I promise it's going to come out. I said it too early.
Dude, like, a good thing to remember, video games take quite a while, particularly if there's like one person mostly just doing the whole thing. It's part of why I'm here, ladies and gentlemen, is that it turns out you can't do everything like involved in the making and promoting of a video game nowadays, so it takes time, but it's getting there. And
it's getting there.
Speaking of getting there, and let's take a look at some of the new stuff that maybe people haven't seen, or like that's like interesting, like in our updates. Like this is so most episodes will be more like this, just so you know. Like it will probably get to the point a bit quicker, but I just want to get to know Adrienne, and maybe you do as well. Why not? But anyway. I'd love to have a look at True Scrapper and see like what kind of new stuff is in there.
I don't remember what I put in the last devlog, to be quite honest.
I mean,
with
I
you.
do. But feel free to go with whatever you want to go with. Like I don't want to just go, it's this, and this.
I'm just gonna open the last devlog.
I have to open as well. I was just like,
there you go, and then scroll through it as we kind of go through it. Where we go, live event. There we go. Oh,
that's a hell of a noise. Boom. Like this is only like a year old, and it's like, and I bought it to replace a different one, and by all accounts I could just put some sort of grease on this and it'll be fine, but
after a year it shouldn't need it.
That's what I keep thinking, even though it's only me that's suffering by not doing anything. I feel I'm like, no. I will not accept that I have to do something. But anyway, yes, True Scrapper.
Yeah, there we go. I have the devlog. So in the last 2 months I finally finished implementing the 6 and 7 for Bets's Path. So Truth Scrapper is going to be 5 days where it's mostly going to be the same events, and throughout those 5 days the gameplay part is, instead of making choices like a regular visual novel, the choices that you make are instead the memories that you decide Susat will remember. Will she remember more of this? Will she remember this thing that happened? Will she remember to focus on certain things?
Bet you can do some
And
interesting shit with that. Like, I was like,
mhm,
can you imagine if you could do that in real life? Like, there was stuff that you could
right?
just be like, I don't need to remember this, or I don't want to remember this.
Yeah, it
Like that
doesn't
kind of
really
stuff.
matter.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was scary. I don't want to remember any of
Yeah.
that. And so since this is a romance game, there are two love interests, which are Amor, the red buff person, and Bets, the more twinkish. But for me, I say twink because everyone knows what a twink is in this day and age. But the real thing that Bets is a bishojo, which is like a
Oh.
really, yeah, like this kind of it's a Japanese like manga trope of this really beautiful woman, but that kind of acts like a prince in a lot of
Mm.
ways.
That
Like,
was the vibe I was getting from them when I played it.
there we
Yeah.
go. Yeah, yeah. So kind of like, oh, if you have a manga that takes place in a girls' school, there's like usually the one girl who is more masculine, but in like
Mm.
a princely way that all of the girls are in love with. This is Bets. This is what Bets is. Not a
Mm.
twink, a bichojo, but twink. Everyone knows what a twink
You
is. I
get it
don't want to.
straight. You can visualize it straight away. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
I'm with you.
So you can, throughout all of those 5 days, you can decide for Saucet if she should remember more of one or more of the other.
I will say I remembered more of a more. Like, just throwing it out
Yeah,
there. Like,
yeah, yeah. That's what's been so interesting because it's really divided. And I was
mm,
afraid that people would be like, all right, 70% one and 30% the other. But no, it seems like it's really a 50-50.
yeah.
So I love that. This is exactly what I wanted. And so in the first 5 days, you kind of go more of one or more of the other. And so after that, the game goes, either you go on Amor's path or you go on Bets's path for the last 2 days. And so I finally finished implementing completely Bets's path.
Shit.
So that means I have only 4 days left to write. So that's going to take me 1 year because that's very important days.
Well, yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah, well,
I
yeah.
imagine.
Uh,
I don't know.
yes,
Oh,
exactly.
this bit isn't important. I'll just get
This
through
is
this.
the ending that takes a month.
Nah, that's simple. Like, that's just, and then it was
Exactly.
all fine, done. Like,
Mm-hmm.
then I went
Ex
home. Job
Yeah,
done.
and then that was it. So yeah, I
Yeah.
finally finished implementing that, and the reason I started doing Bets's ending before Amour's is because I am so excited to get to Amour's ending. I have
Mm.
such precise things in mind that I'm like, this is what the game was all about. Was were the ideas I had from the
Oh, shit.
very
Okay.
beginning. I'm so excited, and so I have to eat my veggies first and do Bets, I guess.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Let's do
I will at
Bets's
some point,
first.
even though that's
Yeah,
clearly not the road I'm going to
ex
go down. But like,
exactly. We have to go to Bets at some point. And then I was like, wait, this is really fun. I forgot how much I I forgot what I wanted to do with Bets, but actually this is delicious. This is
mm,
great. I'm so
mm,
excited for people to play Bets's ending. It's gonna be so good. I'm gonna watch so many streams of people reacting to it. This is so good.
yeah,
This is what gaming is all about. Game development's
dude.
like, oh my god, people are gonna get to play it one
Oh,
day.
it's wild.
Uh,
That moment where,
mhm,
like, because I've worked at places for games for a while, and like,
mhm.
I've not physically made games, but like I've done little bits of writing and stuff like that in games, and it's
But
like,
even around, it's like, oh
it's
my
wild. The
god.
minute you're
Yeah.
particularly like at a show floor or something where you physically
Yeah.
have people coming up and playing something, just standing there and being like, look at them, just do,
Yeah.
especially when they figure it out and they just do it, and you're like, oh,
I made it.
they did it right. Like, oh my
Yeah.
god, like the tutorial
Yeah.
works. Like, I
They
was,
understood what I was putting down. This is
yeah.
great.
But yeah,
Yeah.
anyway,
Mhm.
yeah.
So Bets's End, I'm so excited for people to play it. So I finished that. Now I'm taking a little break before I really start going into Amour's ending, really.
Mm.
I am still working on the demo to make sure it's all perfect and everything. And since hopefully the demo will come out
It'll
not
come
in
out.
6 months,
Yeah.
hopefully sooner than that. There's a lot of things to, I explained a bit in the devlog that this is, what? why you guys still have to wait for the demo even though it's like pretty much done. It's because there's still a lot of things even beyond making sure the demo is done. There's like, okay, what's the marketing beats that we want to hit? Yeah.
These are all the
What's
other
the
things.
where do we want to do it through a showcase? Is that's the case, when is the showcase going to be? Is that going to be at
How
the
do we
right
get into the
time?
showcase? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, all
where are
this
we gonna
stuff.
be? Where are we gonna be inside the showcase? We have to contact a bunch of hopefully a bunch of press. Hopefully they will be interested in showcasing the game in on the press as well. Emailing some streamers to see if they would be interested in playing the demo for their audience. Maybe we want to be a part of an IRL convention. Like, so there's so many things to do around the demo that is not just making the demo, and so that's why it's gonna take a lot. It's gonna take some time still.
It's
but
are
also
far
people
more.
don't.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
go on.
but that's the thing, is that people who just play video games and don't make them, they don't know about that stuff,
No.
because I didn't know about that
And there's
stuff. So
no reason
that's
they
why.
should. And this is why we're here
Exactly.
now. Like, it's
Exactly.
yeah, it's
Literally, this is to explain that sort of thing where it's like, hey, this is what happens behind the scene, because obviously, why would you know what happens behind the scene unless I
you've
tell
got
you
your own
guys?
behind the scenes that you're living
Yeah.
constantly. Like, it's, you know,
Exactly.
and you're just like, I'd like to play a game, please. Like, that's your interaction with this. But for those
It's
interested,
like, there you go.
like,
Yeah, for those that are interested in how the sausage is made, or maybe even people who would be interested in making their own sausage. There you go. This is how I do it. And what else? I also finally, after so much time, I made the options menu look good. Because this whole time the True Scrapper options looked like the classic Ren'Py options, which are fine.
that's the
But
engine you're using, right?
yes, Ren'Py is
Yes.
the engine I'm using, and so that's the visual novel engine. It's great.
The
They have
visual novel engine.
that is the one. There's some others, but who cares? Ren'Py is the one.
It's the one, probably, I would guess, with the most documentation and usage that you
It
can
has
find a lot
such
about.
good
Yeah, there you go.
documentation.
That's always a
Yeah.
plus. Like,
And it has a really good tutorial on where it just goes, all right, here's this line of code will make this thing happen, and if you change it in this way, it makes this thing happen instead. So it's just really great. That's why I used it for my very first game, Sarah. I was like, yeah,
oh, so it was the same engine.
it was the same engine. There you go. I'm
It all
coming
loops
back.
round. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I fixed up the options menu because I wanted to add more options than were offered, and the options menu on the Ren'Py takes only a single page, and I'm like, I don't want it to be like, okay, well, option 1, option 2, option 3, blah, 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 blah. So
Yeah, I don't want to try and squeeze all of this.
yeah.
One thing.
So now it's on
Ideally.
multiple tabs.
Yeah.
Just like a real video game.
It's wild things like that people would never think of. Like, you'd never be like,
yeah.
oh, was it a process to figure out how to just have tabs on an options menu? You assume it's just like press the options menu button.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, now I have
that's
one.
a thing. Yeah, that's a thing I tried to figure out for many months, and then I was like, hey, additional programmer, can you do that for me? Because I can't.
This is the same thing I do with everything, where I, for some reason, will not just ask people or use the internet what I could be doing. I will just sit there and try and figure it out, as if
Even
all of
using
the
internet, it was not working out. Yeah, that's why
Yeah,
I
like-
really had to get someone.
Well, yeah, you do, because sometimes
Yeah.
it's like other people have figured this out. You know, you don't have to solve this
Exactly.
problem yourself. There's been like decades of people doing this. Like, so they've done it. You don't need to do that
yeah.
bit. You need to do the bit you need to do, the new bit. Like, yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah. I
And
know
it's
exactly what
very
you mean.
much one issue where it was like, I'm pretty sure the additional programmer was like, yeah, I'll do that in 10 minutes for you. And it's like, you're
Please.
so good.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm always like. If you could, I love a solution to a problem where it is, I look stupid and someone
Yeah.
solves it quickly,
It's
because
there
I'm
you
just
go, it's
like,
done.
this is terrible. This is a thing I cannot solve, and it's like, I don't know what to do. And then if someone goes, you idiot, just dit, and you go, great. I would way rather be an
Yeah.
idiot than this is as difficult as it felt to me.
Exactly.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
like it would.
It's like, oh, it's difficult for everyone. Oh no.
Yeah, like,
It's
yeah.
okay,
Then I'm
good.
like, oh no, what do we do? But like, if someone's just like, you just do this, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
good, okay, great, problem solved. But yeah.
Exactly. And that's what most of the problems have been on my end, where
That's
it's
good.
like, oh, this is just a 10-minute fix. Yes.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I have been playing through the game with some friends.
Mm.
Like something I try to keep in mind and I try to tell people is that you should always create, like if you're creating something, I think on a certain level you should create it for yourself mostly, and then on a less to or lesser extent for an audience. But
Mm.
most importantly, you need to make the thing for two sickos and two sickos that you
Mm.
know. And so right
Mm.
now, I have two of those sickos that are play testing through the game,
Yeah.
and it has been so fun. It's like a weekly thing. They come over, they play the game for a couple hours. I take so many notes,
Oh, nice.
and so it's been so fun. And so
Well,
they've
that's
been giving
huge.
me,
That's great.
yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
They've been giving me a lot of really good feedback. Which I didn't think was going to be the case, but like for
Yeah.
example, I wrote here a bunch of like one of them reacting to Sasset going, "Oh, she's a bitch." I'm like, yes, yes, you
She
get it.
is.
That's
Yeah, here
she
we are.
is.
Maybe in a way,
Mhm.
in the way that we all
Yeah,
are. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think the way that sometimes we're all thinking, except
Huh.
she's saying
There's
it. That's
always,
great.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking something, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
One of my friends is also a really big astrology girl, so she
Mm.
immediately went, I think Amor is a Leo, and I
Oh,
nod like I know what that
I was gonna
means.
say
I don't.
neither do I. Like
Yeah,
I feel
but
like I don't know what generation or age group you are. I've never asked, but like I feel like I grew up in one where everyone was just going, "We're done with that." Like when I was a
it's
kid,
back
and
my
so I didn't know about
generation.
it.
People that are in their 30s, I feel like, is when it's like, all
That's
right, astrology.
that's when it's
Yeah.
like coming back, and it was yeah, it was
Yeah.
like the generation I'm in was suddenly all like, "Hey, I know a lot about this," and I was like, "Do we? I never learned about this. Like I don't
Yeah.
hate it, but like I don't
I
know
know
anything about
mine.
it." Like yeah,
I know
like
mine, I guess.
yeah, but
And that's
anyway,
it. But I feel like the fact that it was very quick, where
just
she
straight
saw
away.
more for a couple of like dialogue things, and then went Leo for sure. And so I
Mm.
feel like that means that. And so, and also, by the way, I have literally hired her to make up their whole like astrological
Amazing.
charts, because I was like, you know what? I feel like some people are gonna ask me their birthdays at some
Why
point. You
not?
should, yeah, because that's what people are sometimes interested in. What's
Yeah.
their favorite food? What's their what's their astrological sign? What's their this? What's their that? And I'm
Mm.
like, you know what? I need to get prepared. So let me ask an expert, my
Yeah, there
friend
we
who
go.
knows about astrological charts.
Yeah.
So, and so far, so we have had a couple of talks where she's like, "Can you tell me more about those characters so I can really figure all of this
Mm.
out?" And she is still on. I'm pretty sure Amor is still a Leo. So I think just the fact that she has stayed with it, knowing everything, is
Mm.
like, oh, that means that you got it right
Yeah.
away, that I've
You
made
could yeah.
characters. Yeah, yeah.
That's huge.
Mhm.
You grafted onto something, and yeah,
Yeah.
I understand the humanity of this character. And it's like,
Yeah,
ah,
I
here's the
understand how
secret.
they
They're
work.
not real. I made them up. like,
Yeah,
like,
they're not real, but it fooled you into thinking they
yeah.
could have astrological signs.
Yeah,
It's
I did.
great.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
added all this stuff to them that it's not even
Mhm.
there. They're not real. But
Yeah,
I did it well
exactly.
enough that you felt that
Mhm.
they might do.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that's huge. Like that's a
Yeah.
huge storytelling thing.
Exactly. And another one. So my other friend likes bets more than Amor,
Mm.
and to the point where she sees bets doing a certain pose, and then she just went, and I'm like, what?
See, I had the reverse. Like, yeah, I was the exact reverse. Like,
Yeah,
to
me
me,
too.
I was like, Bets feels like they're actually reacting a bit more like I maybe would in this
Mhm.
scenario. Whereas I was
Mhm.
like, but there's a more just like right there. Like, just like, like,
Yeah.
like, yeah, cool. You seem great.
Yeah.
Look at you. Like,
You
like,
look at you. You.
look, yeah,
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 exactly. So that's why it's
you're
that's why I'm
large. Right. Anyway.
so exactly. That's why I'm so interested in seeing people react to the demo, just to
Mm,
see how where people are gonna
yeah.
go. I think that's really fascinating. My next line is that I'm teaching one of them about neopronouns and gender in general, which has
Yes.
been it has been so interesting because so Truth Scrapper in the world of Truth Scrapper, uh every time you see someone like not just meet someone, but you see someone a
Mm.
new day, they introduce themselves with their pronouns. Like today I am she. Today I am she and they. Today
Yeah,
I
I
just don't
noticed that
have
with them all.
pronouns.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's just that I did that on some level for In Stars in Time, where characters were very much queer. Characters had their pronouns listed in their profiles. Um, Characters were all like it was very much a society where everyone was just assumed to be queer, and that
Mm.
meant probably they were trans, probably they might be cis, but they might also be trans, and it's not really impacting, like it's not as much as a thing as it is in our society, so I
Well,
wanted to
you're
explore.
making a
Yep.
world you want to be in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that was also it, is that I didn't want to make a queer utopia, because I feel like when
Why
I
not? Why didn't you want to make a queer utopia? You chose to. You had the option to make queer utopia, and you said
I
no.
didn't want to, because
No, I'm
because
with you.
like there are some stories where you have a queer utopia, and I'm like, well, I don't, even though those characters may be the same sexualities or gender as I am,
Mm.
I don't really relate to them because they're not going through the struggle.
This is it. This is it.
Struggle is such an important part of
No,
being
dude,
queer
it
for a
is.
lot of people.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
mhm.
Absolutely. So no,
And
I
so
agree.
yeah, and so for In Stars in Time, instead of creating queer utopia, it is a utopia for a lot of people,
Mm.
but it is not a utopia for ace and aromantic people, just
Mm.
because the religion in Stars in Time is called is change, and it's all around change, and so it's very normal for people to change genders, to change
Mm.
to maybe have multiple partners and all of that. And since you have a religion about change, it also means that, to a certain extent, having kids, being pregnant, having relationships, having sexual and or romantic relationships is very much the baked in part of that world.
Yeah.
And so what would that mean for people that are asexual or people that are
Mm.
aromantic? How would they feel in this religion that's all around change when they are not experiencing what a lot of people would consider a core part of changing,
Yeah.
romantic and
That's
sexual
huge.
relationships? So that's what I really wanted to explore. And so for Truth Scrapper, I so far it's a bit more of a queer utopia, and that means that I'm talking about their relationship to gender and sexuality less, because
Mm.
I'm like, whatever, it's all good.
It's
But
fine. Yeah.
I didn't want to, instead of exploring, I guess, the negative parts of what this kind of world would be like, I wanted to just explore their relationship to gender a bit
Mm.
more. And so while I was like I think a bit after I finished working on Stars in Time, I learned about neopronouns in more detail,
Mm.
and how what they are and everything, which is, and so they technically is a neopronoun, but like there are a bunch of neopronouns like Z, or
Yes.
like those pronouns that quite honestly I've only seen written, so I don't really know how they're
I've
pronounced.
heard it was a while ago the first time I heard it, but Z and Zer I had heard,
Yeah.
like, because I
Mhm.
met someone that was their pronouns, and but
Mhm.
yeah, and so I know what you mean though. That, like, it's
Yeah.
definitely some that you're like, oh, I've just not met someone who's introduced
Ju
themselves
just
that way, so
exactly.
I'm not
So let me do some
necessarily a fay on
research.
how to say it yet. Like,
Yeah,
but
I'll do
yeah,
some research, but it's
there
also
you
I'm
go.
reading a lot and I'm not hearing a lot.
Yeah.
But I wanted to explore that in a bit more detail about this relationship to gender, if people were allowed and kind of somewhat expected to change their pronouns at any
Mm.
time. How would people see gender? And so I ended up posting that a little while ago. Sasat, throughout the whole game, keeps a glossary of facts and concepts that she encounters, and so there's like a whole glossary that you can look at any time. And so she has a page on gender and how she sees gender, and on a certain level how this society sees gender, which is that they see gender like fashion. And so
Mm.
some people might keep the same fashion their whole life, aka the same gender. They might change every so often. They have this period where it's like, I'm keeping this, or another time I'm keeping this. Sometimes they might
Mm.
do a mix of everything. Sometimes they will stay one way a long time and then test something up. So like just thinking of it like fashion, I thought was really interesting, and the way that I got the idea of to really mm, uh relate it to fashion is because I was one of my playtesters was really taken aback just by the mere idea of neopronouns, because that was something she had
Oh, it
never
was
heard
new to
about
them.
before,
Yeah, yeah,
completely new. And so they were like, and especially because the whole time I talk about the three main characters, Sasa, Namor, and Bets, I say that they're girls
yeah.
because it's I do want to do a lesbians is what I wanted to do, but the real
As
thing,
we've
they're not.
discussed, yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
memory lesbians.
it's
Yeah,
so
like,
important.
yeah.
But they are more gender fluid. It's just that it's an easier like shortcut to say girls, and that I think on some level they might be okay with being considered girls.
Mm,
But and so my friend knew that I called them girls, and then Amor introduced himself as he and she. So
mm.
she was like, but that's a girl. And I'm like, yeah, like, but he? And I'm like, yes. And so I had to really
Yeah,
explain, hey, this is how it works. This is how you could kind of see it. Like, think about drag queens, also drag queens that
go
are
between the two.
usually gay men, but that might use she as a
Mm,
pronoun. And so it was a really fascinating discussion, and that made me realize, oh, the same way that in Stars in Time might teach people what being asexual or aromantic is like,
mm.
and about those experiences, this game might end up teaching people about neopronouns and gender in a certain way. So I might as well put a whole glossary
Why
page
not?
about gender to really teach people about something that they might not have necessarily thought about, and how other people can see the world. So that was really, again, something that, oh, the same way that people might have a different way of seeing something in my own games that might enhance their experience. Sometimes people might have less experiences than I think, and so let's put them
Absolutely.
at the same level and teach them about something if I can. It might as well. So yeah.
No,
Um,
that's huge. Like, because you can't,
mhm.
everyone doesn't know everything, and also,
Yeah.
like you say, when you're going, because I don't know if it's spoilers or not. Like, I won't buy. But there, what I experienced that in the narrative as well, where we're going between he and she, and
Pronouns.
like
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
same
yeah.
person, and
Hmm.
it's also just sometimes not the way people have been taught language. Like, it's that
Exactly.
can be a
Yeah.
barrier where they're like, oh, I'm just confused by what, like, how I meant to syntax this
Hmm.
whole thing. Like, what am I doing? As opposed
Yeah.
to like a sexuality or anything like that. So yeah, being able to
And so
experience that is huge. Yeah.
yeah, and so that's something I put in the glossary as well. Like the way that Sasa does it is that since those pronouns, like people's pronouns, might keep changing throughout the days,
Mm,
she tells herself it's fine to use the either the pronoun you wrote for this person when you first met them, or the last one you heard them refer to themselves
mm,
as. Like, and I kind of want to show that on a certain level, because because genders are so fluid in this
mm,
world and people can change them every so often, it's not as much of a faux pas to make a mistake.
mm.
Like, and it's like, oh, you messed it up, it's okay, this is how I identify right now. Oh, okay, sorry, there you go. And then you can
Yeah.
keep on going, because I know that is also a worry for people that don't know a lot about gender, is that it's like, I don't want to even address this person in any way, because what if I fuck it up?
Yeah, I
And
don't want to
yeah,
upset this person is generally the
yeah,
core of when people are nice and
exactly.
they're good and they're coming at it
Hmm.
from that angle where it's just like I don't want to make you
I
feel
don't want to
bad.
mess it up. I don't want
Like,
to make them
yeah.
feel bad. I don't want to upset them. And I feel like may I do believe that for a lot of people it's like, hey, if you mess it up, I would rather we go on. Like, I will correct
Yeah.
you and then we can go on with our lives. It doesn't have to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Just apologize, change it, move on.
Yeah.
It's
It's
all
only when
good.
you make a deal out of it. Like that now we
Yeah.
have a now you're clearly a bit of a
N-
dick. But
Now
like
there's a
here we
problem.
are. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, and so then playtesting, and one thing they also said is that clay is somewhat important. For clay comes back every so often in the narrative, because you can create objects in the game and kind of customize a bunch of objects. And so at some point clay comes in, and Sasset has to chew on some clay in the game. And I described it in a certain way, because for me I was like, oh, I guess it would be kind of crunchy if you're chewing on clay, right? And both of them were like, no.
Yeah, I would have immediately been like, no, only if it's baked. Yeah.
Well, or if it's like dry or something. They
Yeah.
were both like, no, I have eaten clay before, so this is
I
not
have eaten clay before.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
and I was like, what do you mean? And so both of them had different experiences of
Huh.
having tasted clay.
That's
and
useful.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, oh my God, I didn't know. Because one of them was like, oh, I did some, I did some pottery before, and it just happened to go into my mouth. So I have the knowledge of what it just
but
happened to.
Yeah, I don't know
believe.
how it got there.
Yeah,
Like, I was just really into the pottery. Like, just, whoa!
Yeah, exactly.
Let the pottery flow through me. And then it did.
Then for
like...
the other one often went into lakes or something like that, where they had, there's clay in the lake, and
in
it
the soil, and like, yeah,
just happens to go into your mouth.
Whoops.
And so same thing. And so I was like, oh my God, yeah, I don't never thought about it. Thank you so much for this invaluable
great.
Yeah, this is
accurately
legit
describe eating clay, or chewing on it, I should say.
Yeah, and I'm like, and they were both like, so it's smooth, and I'm like, it's smooth. You're right. It's smooth and it's cold. And I feel like saying that is actually a much more effective descriptor than saying it's crunchy.
Yeah.
Like,
so
that's why I was why I was like, this is great. It needs to feel gross.
Feeling. Like, crunchy is just like, food's crunchy. Like,
exactly.
But like
that's
smooth
why.
and cold. I'm like,
yeah.
It doesn't feel like necessarily what should be in my mouth. Like,
exactly.
Yes.
So that's why this is what playtesting is for. You might find out that this experience that you're like, I think no one has had this experience, so I'll just put my own feelings into it and be like, I know, I have gone through this before.
2 people as well. Immediately, they're like,
the same 2 people in the same room being like, yeah, I've tried it before.
Yeah, we all have. That's a thing we've all done. Did you not do that? Did you not get that in school? Like, were they not like, and now we put clay in our mouths
and
to
now
see what
we
it's
try
like.
it exactly,
because that's
and we know
important. Like, don't
so
eat it. But
there you go. Just keep that in mind in case you need to write about chewing clay one day.
It might come up. Like, if it doesn't, we've wasted an entire school syllabus by making you all learn this. But
exactly,
if it does,
now you know. And then the very last playtesting note that I had is that I need to add a U to colors, so the game is not so Americanized.
I mean, I would have a U in colors. I'm from the UK, but I am so used to the internet mostly being American that I have adapted when writing. Like,
because for reference, I live in Canada. I'm not a Canadian citizen. I did it. And
I thought you just said I'm not a Canadian citizen.
I am now a Canadian citizen.
I'm living in Canada. I'm not a Canadian citizen.
I did it. I live in Canada, but I'm not a Canadian citizen.
Yeah, I was like, it's a bold move just to like throw that out there. And I'm not even a citizen. I don't even care.
I don't really care.
How are you going to stop me?
I don't really care about any of this
watching this? Nobody. Right.
No, I am now a Canadian citizen.
Good.
But I learned English with the everything Americanized, and also spending a lot of the time on social media, which is incredibly Americanized.
It is what it is.
And so both of them played through it. They got to a moment where character says colors, and they both stopped and said, "You need to. Where's the U? You need to add the U in there." I'm like, oh, you're too Americanized, Adrienne. You need to get that shit together. I'm like, you're so right. Okay. So it's one of the things I have to do at some point, is to find a list of all of those words that I messed up, so I can just go.
Like, you could do a search. Like, is it in have you got it in a spreadsheet? I feel you could. What is it? Command F10,
it would be easy. It's just that I need to find a list of the that's the thing I need to do it. But I need to find a list of all those words. It's like, you need to add a U in there, favorites, colors, all of that. And I'm like,
these are tasks that people like myself, and I don't know if they're publicly acknowledged, but these are tasks you can pass on to people that exist around you.
I will. I might pass it on to Dora. Dora has been mentioned a bunch of times. I just said that. Yes.
Dora. So I also work at Strange Scaffold. Dora was on the Strange Scaffold podcast. We're not promoting that here, but like, we could. Like,
you could. I said that. Listen to here. If you need more voices in your ears, you need to listen to the Strange Scaffold podcast right now.
Cool Things Club. But Dora's on that, and so I was like, oh no, Dora is a a person
Yeah.
that exists
Mhm.
in the world. But yeah, that's a thing you could pass
Yes.
on to me and Dora. That's not interesting
You're
to anyone
right.
watching this though. So it's
Yeah, guys, listen. What I'm learning in the last
mm,
couple months is that I need to delegate tasks. So this is
it,
really important. Remember that if you can, you need to delegate tasks.
hey, here's also a tip to anyone working in video games, indie games specifically. A good way to learn lots of new things to do is just to find things you can do that your boss is doing, and it's like on the massive plate of things that they're doing, and you go, I could do that if you
Yeah,
want. Like
and that becomes
I
very
could do
helpful
that.
to me.
Yeah, and it helps everyone, and you're now doing a new thing, and now
Mhm.
they're not having to do it. So it's, and then you're all learning a million new skills because,
Everyone wins.
yeah, it's the way indie games work. It's always confusing when you go to like a big studio or something, and it's like, so I just do this one thing. I don't do like
Exactly.
700 different
Yeah.
things that like through the whole like, oh, that's a whole department. Oh, okay, all right.
Oh,
Oh, I
okay.
see.
I did that on my the whole time.
No,
Damn.
like not well, but I did
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah.
it's,
I guess I'll go from working 17 hours a day to working 2 hours a day. All right,
hey,
that works for me.
works for me. But
Yeah.
we as if there's jobs, but like we say that.
Right.
But anyway,
But yeah,
yeah, you were
otherwise
saying
that's all the playtesting with
that's all the
friends. Like
playtesting with
I have
friends.
so many more notes, but those are like it's a lot of typos mostly like that I need to fix and that, when you're writing you're like I don't care about typos and then
Yeah.
when someone is reading it aloud you're like it's not how you say
Oh.
this in English.
Yeah. Yeah. I will always forever find people that are speaking English as a second language fascinating and intelligent in the way that like I would never think that you speaking English was not a thing that you would do at all times. And then like I've worked at companies that like I worked at a German company once, and then you'd be used to talking to these people in English, and then they're suddenly all talking German, and you're like, you
Wait,
can
this
you
whole
can just
time?
you can speak more. I can only speak
Yeah.
this is the only one I've got. Like I
We
don't
can
have
have
another
secret
one.
conversations?
Yeah, well, like it just feels like a level of intelligence and brain power that I'm like, wow, that you can just speak that. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, that's all the updates like
That's
on the
all the
game.
updates,
It's
yeah.
all the
And then I try
updates.
to end every devlog with please don't forget to wish lists. It's really helpful if
Please
you wish
do.
list. It
It
helped the
is.
Steam. Yeah, it does help. Like that's the thing is again another thing you might not know if you're not a game developer.
Yeah.
But wish listing games, it helps the Steam algorithm know that this game is good and cool, and so it will help the Steam algorithm push this specific game higher, farther. If we want to apply to like showcases or whatever, it does help to go. Here's the number. This is how
Some do
many
like to know.
people
It
are
is very true.
interested in this
Yeah.
and it's also really nice because it helps me know that people are interested in the game and I'm not going to release to like two people, my two sickos. I will
Yeah.
release it to the two sickos. It would be nice if I could release it to a couple more.
I mean, you've got two sickos now that work for you. Like,
There you
we'll
go.
play it.
Yeah,
It's like we
yeah,
already are. Like,
exactly.
how great. But yeah, no, it's sort of wild how much wish lists really on Steam in particular really do make a huge difference still. So if you haven't wish listed the game already, please do because yeah,
Please.
as we said, it makes a very big difference. And
Yeah.
yeah, so the plan is that we'll do these whenever we have a update to
A
give.
new devlog, yeah.
Yeah, we will do this. The written ones will still be the written ones, so those are still going to exist and be on Steam. But yeah, these will be wherever you're watching it right now. That's where it will
Yeah.
continue to be. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for joining me, Adrian, and we'll be
Yeah.
back
Thank you
next
for
time.
having me.
I would say next
Exactly.
month. I don't know, but they're not
Probably
always every
next
month.
month.
We'll do
Yeah.
something. We'll figure something out. I
We'll
think.
figure it out.
Yeah, we've discovered we can talk for a while. We're already like 15 minutes over what we thought we were going to
Hell
be,
yeah.
and
Yes.
here we are.
Yeah.
So bye.